Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to another class on linguistics. So, in the past few classes, we have been dealing with some varieties of English. Like we learned about received pronunciation and British English. We also compared it with American English, Australian English, and South Asian English. In today's class, we will be discussing general Indian English or Indian English in general. Now, Indian English in general, let us discuss the features and how it is different from received pronunciation in this particular class. So, first of all, let us discuss the term Indian English. English has had a very unique role in India. It was the language of our colonizers. But even after they left India, the language remained and it is still being used for four major functions in India. The first function is instrumental, that is, English is used as a medium of instructions at various stages of education, starting from kindergarten to university levels. We are using English as a medium of instruction. The second function is regulative, that is, English is used for legal and administrative systems. Many of the rules and laws are written in English. Then the third function is interpersonal, that is, India is a multilinguistic country, multilingual country. So for a Malayali to communicate with people belonging to other parts of India, the common language would be English, the language of our colonizers. And the fourth purpose is creative, because English is used by Indians for creative writing. A large chunk of writing performed in India is actually done in English. So about Indian English is actually a variety of South Asian English, and we have already discussed the features of South Asian English. So these features which we discussed earlier, the features of South Asian English, those are actually shared by Indian English too. So in order to write an essay on Indian English, you have to refer to South Asian English and you can get more points from that video or class. Now, when I say Indian English, it is not a homogeneous variety of English because it has a lot of regional varieties. Like India is multilingual, we already said that. So, Tamilians have their own unique way of speaking English that will be different from Bengalis or Malayalis. So, in this respect, there are many regional varieties of Indian English like Tamil English, Bengali English, Malayali English, etc. So the most of the difference between Indian English and received pronunciation is in pronunciation itself rather than vocabulary or grammar or anything. The noted difference is actually in pronunciation because of our mother tongue interference. So some features are actually commonly shared by regional varieties of English. Whether you are a Malayali or a Tamilian or a Bengali, you have certain common features when you actually pronounce English. So these features can be commonly codified as what is known as General Indian English. Let us check out what this term means. General Indian English. Now, this general Indian English, it is actually a variety of English which is spoken by educated Indians all over the country, and it is free from all gross regional peculiarity. So, regardless of the region and your mother tongue, this is the variety of Indian English that is spoken by educated Indians all over the country. Now, this is called GIE or General Indian English. So GIE is actually both descriptive and prescriptive. How is it prescriptive? Because this is the prescribed model to Indian speakers of English. So almost all of the educated Indians actually use GIE in one way or the other. So this is the prescribed model to Indian speakers of English. Second point is that it is descriptive too because it describes the phonological features of a variety of English. It describes how Indians commonly speak English. So it is descriptive and prescriptive. So we can note that there are certain marked deviations from received pronunciation. It can be noted in three levels, actually more than three levels, but here we are discussing three levels: phonological, grammatical, and lexical levels. So first of all, let us check out the phonological level deviations from received pronunciation. So in RP or received pronunciation, we have two back vowels, O and O. But in GIE, you only have one. Because, for example, let us look at these words, cot and cot. Actually, most Indians, they don't distinguish between the sounds in these two words. The first word is pronounced cot and the second word is caught. But actually, this distinction is not often made by Indians. So while RP has two distinctive back vowels, GIE has only one. Let us look at central vowels next. So RP has three central vowels: A, but Indians, we actually don't distinguish between the three. Sometimes we use only one central vowel in the position of all these three central vowels in RP. So instead of three central vowels in RP, GIE uses only one central vowel. And when it comes to diphthongs, RP has 8 diphthongs, but GIE has only 6 diphthongs. So a diphthong A, like as in make, we actually tend to prolong it. We say it make. Instead of make, we say it like we utter it like a pure vowel, make. And instead of the diphthong O, as in no, we tend to use a pure vowel O. Like instead of gold, we say gold. Instead of no, you say no. Okay, so instead of some diphthongs, we have a tendency to use pure vowels. And when it comes to received pronunciation, ah, like in ka, we actually, in RP, it is actually more of a back vowel than GIE. In GIE, it is not that much of a back vowel, but in RP, A is more back than GIE. Again, in GIE, we have this diphthong air, as in share. But in the first element A, it is actually more of a close vowel. The first element A in air, air, A. A is more of a close vowel in GIE. So these are some of the differences between GIE and RP in phonological level. But these were the features about vowels. Let us look at the distinctions between GIE and RP consonants. So in GIE, when it comes to voiceless plosives are per, ter, k, etc. So these plosives are actually unaspirated in all positions in GI. Unaspirated means when you utter these utter these consonants, a little breath of air won't come out. For example, in RP, when I say pin, it should be pronounced as pin. Also in cake, it should be pronounced as cake. It's k. It's not k. It's k. A little puff of air should come out of the mouth. That is called aspirated. So in RP, they are aspirated. But in GI, these voiceless plosives are unaspirated. The second point is that in RP, you know this particular sound ng, and there are certain words that in which this figure like king, sing, ring, etc. Now, an Indian speaker, he would see the NG word combination, NG combination of letters, alphabets, and he would think that, okay, I have to pronounce the n before ng too. So he will end up pronouncing these words as king, sing, ring, etc. So that can be noted. So in GIE, ng does not occur in a word finally. Before ng, we have a tendency to add n to. And when we look at the third point, in GIE, look at these two sounds, ch and j. Ch and j are palatal affricates in GIE. In RP, these are palato-alveolar affricates. So there is a slight difference in the way Indians pronounce ch and j. So in Indians, when they pronounce ch and j, they articulate it with the tip of tongue down. Actually, the tip of tongue should point up when ch and j are pronounced according to RP. But Indians usually don't raise the tip of their tongue. It is actually down itself. That is why instead of becoming palato-alveolar affricates, ch and j in GIE are palatal affricates. Another point is, r is actually a complicated sound in RP, because in RP it is not pronounced everywhere it appears. Also, r has a different pronunciation depending on where it is found inside a word. But in GIE, R is, regardless of the position of R, it is pronounced like a roll or a tap, like r. Instead of saying river, we say a river. Okay, so that is an example of roll or tap. So these are the differences in the phonological level between RP and GIE. And when you come to it, there are some more differences in the phonological level. That is, there are certain words like pepper, rubber, utter, etc. But in Indian languages, we do use double consonants. Like in Malayalam, we call our mother Amma. So there is a double consonant there. So we relate to the second language, English, using this principle, which is already in our mind. So we would end up calling these, uttering these words pepper, rubber, utter, etc. Actually, it should be pepper, rubber, utter. You should not prolong double consonants. Then again, in GIE, so instead of were and were, only were is existent. So you know about the rule that V's bite and W's kiss. Whenever a word should start with V, you should bite your lower lip. And whenever a word should start with W or were, you should roll your lips like you are about to kiss a person. So V's bite and W's kiss. But this distinction is not available in GIE. In GIE, both of these are pronounced as v. And then again, the last point here is that you have these alveolar plosives t and d in RP. But instead of t and d, like ten, den, etc., Indians have a tendency to make it retroflex sounds. While pronouncing retroflex sounds, you actually roll your tongue upwards and raise the tip of your tongue to the roof of the mouth. Like you have a tendency to say den and dark instead of den and dark. So that is a difference. Alveolar plosives t and d are replaced by retroflex consonants. So these are the differences in the phonological level between GIE and RP. Then again, it should be noted that these factors which we just discussed, these points, they belong to the segmental features. But GIE is also different from RP in suprasegmental features like stress, pitch, intonation, etc. That is because most of the Indians already have a first language, a mother tongue. So they have a certain way of pronouncing, and they have a different way of stress, pitch, and intonation and other suprasegmental features which are practiced in their mother tongue. So with these principles, they they actually approach the second language, that is English. And they also change the suprasegmental features accordingly. So these are the phonological differences. Let us look at the lexical level differences between GIE and RP. For example, in Indian English, in general Indian English, you can obviously find certain context bound Indianisms. That is, we have a tendency to translate into English some terms which we use in Indian languages. But it is often bound by context. For example, words like twice born, that is a translation of Dvijan in Sanskrit, which is used to refer to a Brahmin. Again, dining leaf in India, in some parts of India, we have a tendency to eat in a plantain leaf. So that is actually called dining leaf in English. But this is actually only existent in Indian English, this particular usage, dining leaf. And caste mark, the mark you make on the forehead with sandalwood paste or pasmum or some other saffron or something, it is called a caste mark. So these are all Indianisms. It is based on the context. And you can also see certain hybridized items of words like tiffin carrier, lathi charge. Lathi is again an Indian word and charge is an English word. So this is a hybrid word. Then non-Brahmin, Tonga driver, police wala, Brahmin hood, coolie dum. These are all examples of hybrid items of hybrid lexical items. And then there are certain caste related usages which are translated to English. Caste is a very unique practice in India. So, actually, in relation to caste, we have certain words which are translated literally. Like forehead marking. Forehead marking again, kuriiduga. Adinala. Nine-stranded thread is actually the thread worn by Brahmins. Punul, that is translated. So these are words related to the caste system. And then there are certain literal translations like pin drop silence. It is actually a usage in some Indian language which was translated literally. And then to eat fresh air. It's again a saying in a usage in Hindi, hawa khana എന്ന് പറയാറുണ്ട്. Actually, that usage is translated literally to mean to eat fresh air. Again, lean as an arecanut tree. ഒരു പന പോലെ മെലിഞ്ഞത്. Okay, lean as an arecanut tree. Helpless as a calf. So these are all usages in Indian languages which have been translated to English. And these are the lexical level differences between GIE and RP. And we have already discussed the grammar differences between the two systems in South Asian English. So I'm not going into detail there. Now let us look at the problem of mother tongue interference, especially Malayalam mother tongue interference. Most of you listening to me are Malayalis, and let us look at how Malayalam interferes with the way you speak English. Now, why this interference happens is that you are already established in the rhythms and patterns and systems of your mother tongue Malayalam. And with this understanding, you associate with the new language you are learning, English, and that can obviously interfere with your learning process, and it will also stay with you for a long time until you take a proactive step to come out of it. So let us discuss the mother tongue interference. First of all, in RP there are 12 pure vowels, but in Malayalam we can only find 7 similar phonemes. These common phonemes are a, o, I, e, u, and a. So these are the common vowels between Malayalam and English. Then in English, in RP we have 8 diphthongs, but Malayalam only has 2 diphthongs. These diphthongs are I and ow. I and ow. And in Malayalam language, we have a lot of retroflex sounds. Like retroflex sounds, I have already mentioned what it is. During the pronunciation of retroflex sounds, you tend to curl up your tongue as if to touch the roof of the mouth. For example, we have sounds like n, l, etc. Like arana, vala. These are the sounds. But RP only has in RP actually retroflex sounds do not feature. Then in Malayalam we have 6 nasal sounds. But in English we only have 3 nasal sounds, that is m, n and ng. And then let us discuss the common consonant sounds in Malayalam and RP. The common sounds between Malayalam and RP are m, n, ng, ch, j, s, h, p, b, k and g. So these are the common consonant sounds in Malayalam and RP. Now let us look at the derivations we tend to make due to our Malayalam mother tongue interference. First of all, some Malayali speakers tend to replace a with a. In words like instead of saying van, we tend to say van. Van varan samayai. Then o is sometimes replaced by o. Like instead of saying hot, we say hot. And instead of saying a, we replace it with a. Like instead of bus, we can say bus. And again, sometimes we tend to replace certain diphthongs with vowels. For example, in words like gate, instead of saying gate, we have a tendency to say gate. Instead of saying gold, we tend to say gold. And again, this is a point which we already stressed. Ver is used for both ver and were. Instead of saying very well, we tend to say very well. Okay, we tend to bite our lower lip in both the words. Again, in r is pronounced in final positions of words. Like in English, you say this word as car. In Malayalam, Malayali users say car. Okay, and then again, this is also a point which we already discussed. Double consonants in Malayalam, they are very common. So we speak accordingly in words like summer, dinner, etc. We pronounce it as summer, dinner, etc. So these are the derivations we make due to mother tongue interference. So we have come to the end of our class on Indian English and mother tongue interference. I hope this was beneficial for you. So for it to benefit further, you will have to learn South Asian English and include points from that lesson too. So keep that in mind while learning. Thank you so much once again for watching till the end. Have a nice day. Bye.